is Zongpa and welcome to Dawai Kudroen. Tonight I have Honorable Secretary of National Land Commission, Dasho Sangay Khandu. Dasho, thank you so much for your time. We have had some discussions in Dzongkha, and I'd like to pick on where we left in Dzongkha. Land substitute. It has been a problem for our people, and we have had covered so many instances where people have actually complained, saying that they have not been given land substitute on time. In fact, they've had to wait for so long, and there are so many bitter stories to share about this land substitute. What is going on now? After what has happened long time back, with the change in the Act, with the amendment in the Act, Land Commission is responsible for looking after all this. What is happening? Are things going to be different now?
Well, see, the new Act, the Land Act 2007, gives a very clear procedure of land acquisition, provision of land substitute, land exchange, and so on and so. Now, having laid this procedure, people now know which channel to go. Prior to that, how even land was acquired and substitute was provided, there was no clear-cut system.
Yes.
As such, there were so many pending cases before the Land Commission was established. Today, we are spending more time trying to clear backlogs. If you talk of Chuka Hydro Project, Thala Hydro Project, which were commissioned probably a decade and a half before. Land Commission was established only in 2007. We are still handling the land, the substitute of these cases. So we have to take care of the past plus the ongoing projects which are affecting the private landowners. Therefore, the volume of work that we are handling and the capacity of the organization is, except me as a secretary and 2 or 3 officers in the PPD, it is the same old Department of Survey and Land Record, which added responsibility, more responsibilities, authority, but with the same institutional capacity. Therefore, it is taking a little longer. Plus, the system and procedures that are laid down have not been understood both at the GEO level, individuals, as well as at the Dzongkha level. If everybody follows these rules of procedure clearly, it should not take that long.
Yes. Dasho, one of the serious complaints that we have been hearing about is that whoever has actually offered land for any governmental developments are complaining, saying that the land substitute they get is not actually at par when in terms of value with what they have offered to the government. Because sometimes government takes the arable land and substitute is given in some of the areas where it's not actually arable. So in instances like this, can you do something?
Well, the government has approved a rate called, Property Assessment and Valuation Agency rate approved by the government. That rate takes care of the value of your property that has been acquired, and if the substitute land is of lower value, you get higher area, you get bigger area, because the property value is assessed both in terms of, there are so many factors that takes into account. If the land that has been acquired is near the motorway road, accessibility is there, water is there. The substitute land, if it is further away from the motorway road, you get some allowances to that, and you get bigger area. So these provisions are all there in the rules of procedure.
Yes. So one of the things that we have been made to understand is that if my land is taken by the government, then I would never get substitute from any other geoks or any other Dzongkhaks, but I have to get the substitute from my own geok. This is what has been told. And if this is the case, now if there is no land which I would want to acquire as substitute within my own geok, what should I do? Should I then believe that I would get in some other geoks? Because few weeks back I was in Paro, and one of the complaints that the residents of Paro or Naja geok made was that a lady was given a land substitute outside her own geok. And for that, people said that we will not ask for land substitute if the lady who has got land substitute from other geok, if her land is taken back by the Land Commission. This is what people said.
Is the procedure and the rules and regulations is that the land, the replacement has to be first from the same village where your land has been acquired. If that is not available, you look within the same gyo. If there is no suitable land within the same gyo, then you can go to the same different gyo within the same zonghak. This has been there. Now, some of the people are used to, like I also mentioned in some occasion, the land were acquired in Punakha. People took land substitute in Thimphu. Now, because of such people who have been exploiting the situation, such restrictions were imposed.
Can you reverse this? Can you do anything on this?
This is something prior to the 2007 Land Act. It happened 15, 20 years before.
So it's null and void. You can't do anything.
People know these things happen. Some people who have access to it, people who had influence, people who had... Now they know these people have taken advantage and they want to do the same. Now when Land Commission doesn't allow them to exploit that, they are talking, saying that the Land Commission is not giving us that. So the same exploitation, when it is not permitted, people tend to complain. But the instance or the example that you are giving, see, this is what happened. When this issue was raised time and again, I looked into details of that case.
Yes.
The land was from Paro and lady from Shaba, and there were some 2 or 3 more cases. These were approved by the commission because the Geo and the Zonghak said they were not suitable land in Shaba Geo. So they provided land from another Geo.
So it's based on the recommendations
from the
put forward by the Geo
and the Zonghak.
Yes.
Commission accepted that recommendation, credibility of that, approved that in the few past meetings. Now, 1 or 2 meetings later, Sasap, the same, for another few cases came for the land substitute from Dawa Gyo to be provided from Shaba. Then the commission got alarmed since that in the last meeting, the Gab of Shaba and Paro Zongkha said there was not enough land in Shaba, and we approved the case in some other. How come now the same Gyo has enough suitable land to provide Satsap for Dawa Gyo? That is the credibility of the local governments. That's why today the commission is not prepared to take things as it comes.
So therefore, you evaluate on your own.
So we do evaluate on own.
Since you're not able to trust the local government.
Because we first follow this. If it is within the same village, Geo, fine. The moment they go out of the Geo, then we would like to revisit these things and check whether these things are genuine or not. Because we don't want to repeat the story that we had.
Yes. But Dasho, in some instances, people working in the local governments also tell that land commission is too imposing. Yes. From people in the land commission headquarters, have all the impositions, have all the instructions authoritatively, rather than dealing with them and discussing and putting things on table and solving it amicably. This is what people in the local government say.
Well, amicable is something when things are left at the discretion. Here we are following a law. When the law says clear, you follow the law. There is no question of amicable and negotiations. You follow the law. So that is what to say. And when we tell them that this is what the law says, we cannot deviate from this, people feel that we are imposing it on them. It's up to how the people understand it.
But to what extent you go by the recommendations put forward by the local government?
As long as it's within the framework of the procedure that I just mentioned, we accept it.
Okay, sir. So one of the things, now let me also put forward one instance that I have actually gone through, and I've had some investigation done from BBS side. We were in Nganglam, and what we found out was, we are not a technical person, so we have no idea of how technically it was done. But even as a layperson, what we found out was that what was done in Nganglam was not actually permissible within the law. Simply because 3 acres turn into 5 acres, 7 acres turn into 11 acres, while recadastral survey or during the survey. Is that possible, sir? How
Yes,
did that happen?
It is possible if people know the law. See, during the new Satham compilation that was prior to the 2007 cadastral, the first cadastral survey that started from Paro in 1980 and finished in 2005 in Thimphu. During those days, which took about 25 to 30 years, the rules of the game changed several times. And these were passed by the National Assembly then.
Yes.
If your name of the land is mentioned, if the area surrounding, say, Sasam Dosam,
Yes.
the 4 directions of the land is clearly mentioned in the term, and the acreage, maybe say example 1 acre. But within that boundary that has been mentioned in the term, even if that measures 10 acres, you are still entitled to that. So when people talk about it, they talk it's like a half-baked cake. A little knowledge is dangerous, means they know a portion of the Land Act, but they do not know the whole thing. Therefore, each and every case has to be looked at from how it has been done, whether it is permissible within the law. Some things are not even mentioned in 1979 Act,
Yes.
but there were resolutions passed. If you go through the National Assembly resolutions, in every session there are 2-3 resolutions passed on land issues.
Yes.
Now this becomes as effective as the Act, and these were the guidelines that were used for during the new Satham compilation.
So, Dasho, then are you saying that what happened in Nganglam is within the law?
I wouldn't say that everything at the blanket, but I said these are possibilities. There may be a few cases which may
You have
not
also
be.
been informed by Dungpa in writing,
Yes.
saying that he would be suspicious of some lapses
Yes.
within that system. And
Well, the Tumpa in Nanglam, if he knew that, he should not have authenticated the document and put his signature and seal and send it to the Land Commission. And after it has been done, then he comes and
Then
he's
he
digging
finds
his
it.
own grave.
so you are also saying that he is equally responsible for what
Yes.
has happened.
Yes, because the local governments are, when we go and do the cadastral survey, we say that number one, the Geo administration, the Zangha administration or Tukha administration, and the Land Commission, together we are surveying the land. Because they know best what is there on the ground. We hold the documents, the chajatam, but they are the ones who know what actually happens on the ground. So these things are put together. But while we are on Nanglam, I would also like to mention here that, because you did the story when you were
Yes, sir.
in Nanglam,
Yes.
half of the things that were mentioned by the people there is not true. We also have done our investigation. Today ACC has done an investigation. Now let them come out with a report.
So
We have-
are you already done with the investigations?
Yes, we are through with our report.
So how soon would you make this report public?
Well, as far as we are concerned, we have submitted the report to the authorities concerned. Yes, there are few technical errors. Definitely there are there, but there are no blatant, cheating or trying to take the government for rest. Such these things are not there
So
as much as
it's not a major land scam.
no.
Yes.
It's a big story. It is basically a jealousy between different groups in Nanglam.
No, sir.
There are people, some people got, as you said, that within the framework of the law, some people got big benefits. The other people are jealous of what these people got. So there are complaints against each other. In the process, the Land Commission, people who happened to be at that time the Department of Survey and Land Record, these surveys are being dragged in, these things are dragged in. Yes, there are minor mistakes are there. There are certain errors. We definitely, like in case of say orchard, according to rules, any excess land on the orchard is not permissible.
Yes.
But in few cases, so few decimal or 30-40 decimals have been given there. Probably it was an error or it is a deliberate. It's something that is difficult to establish. But that's in 2 or 3 cases. But when you do a whole Tungha, few mistakes it's likely to occur. They are human beings.
Yes, sir. Then, as a human being, we would definitely make mistakes. But after finding the mistakes, will people be morally held responsible?
Yes. Because if we know that this has been deliberately done for someone's, personal gain, definitely we will take serious action against that. But if it is the administrative lapse, if there is a error like this, I don't think we can take serious this thing, because human beings, we are likely to make mistakes. But if the intention is for his personal gains and benefit, definitely it's a serious case.
Yes. Dasho, we are not yet done talking to some people in Ganglam, and some actually called us and informed us on certain issues in Ganglam. And one of the things that we heard was, we are not telling this as truth or as fact. Yes. I would like to reconfirm from Dasho. One of the things that we heard was, in Ganglam, there's a movement of land. Is that possible? A rural land has been transferred to urban land. Is that possible? Change in the ownership that was done in Ganglam. This is one of the things that we heard.
See,
is it permissible?
It is not a movement of the land. See, what is movement? It is a map. When you have, say, if you have a map sheet number, like if you see in the thumb, map sheet number Q7 by 21 and M7 by 21. These are two different map sheets. But within that, you have the same plot numbers. Now, in Nanglam, what we found, there has been a certain shift of the land from a certain area down there. So land which is probably maybe half a kilometer away has been totally shifted down there. And it is not only in one case. It is because people use the wrong map sheet number. We found that there were technical errors. Now people who were down there, they thought it was a land scam. These are technical errors. We have made our observation on the Nanglam proposed the Thomde. On each of these plots, we have given our observation to the Shaptal Hengha, saying that these plots have shifted by so much. This plot has shifted by so much. This is a technical error.
So who is responsible for these technical errors?
Well, it is the surveyors who did the surveys. So there are surveys, whether they use the right map or wrong map. It is how the surveys were, on the ground, and the documents that were used and tallied on ground like that.
So in trying to correct this technical errors, I'm sure your office must be definitely trying to correct the technical errors that occurred a few years back. In trying to do so, will these surveys be held responsible?
Well, it was not done by us surveyors. It is the cadastral map and the information that the Land Commission has was passed on to the Shaptal Hengha. There people used this, and based on this they did the urban planning. And then this map sheet was probably our people handed over the wrong map sheet number, or some errors were there. But these are still those people whose names appeared in the Thomde list still haven't got the thumb and this thing, because the Ministry of Works and Human Settlement and Land Commission are still in the process of trying to tally these records. So why are people jumping to conclusion? But in the process in Nanglam, what you are mentioning specifically, there are certain landowners whose land were acquired by Dungsam Cement project. This is a huge project. Lot of land, not only for the construction of the factory, but even for the limestone, raw material. The orange fruiting trees, such huge oranges were fruiting there. These land were acquired, and they are given substitute. And these substitutes were provided prior to the establishment of the Thomde. Now people feel that because it has been declared as Thomde, because of that it was given as a. But at the time when the land substitute was provided, it was not declared as a Thomde. And now people might say that it has been given from a different geo, because these two are in different geo.
Yes.
Yes, now it is in a different geo. But this different geo, it happened to be a different geo after the delimitation exercise done by the Election Commission. Prior to that, it was in the same geo, so it would be consistent with the law.
Yes.
If you look at now, it will not be consistent because it's in a different geo, because the area is now falling under a different geo. So there are so many technicalities that we have to consider.
Yes. Dasho, how often do your surveyors declare conflict of interest? Because I'm from Bhutan and I should never be sent to Bhutan to survey, because I would definitely have conflict of interest, and this could be inevitable. Sometimes manipulation will be there because I heard from that, and people would expect favors from me. So do you look at all this? In some cases we heard that some of the surveys whose spouses are from that particular areas are sent to survey there, and few manipulation must have occurred, is what people feel.
Well, we have not really looked at in detail, and that is not possible also. It all depends upon individual. We have surveyors who are really good, who are really committed, who are really professional, and I've got feedback from him that these are really good people. Because he is honest, he is doing job very well. Farmers say that there is no chance of manipulation because this person doesn't budge an inch. So once the moment the surveyor begins his work and he starts on a right footing, the farmers, after they don't try to even manipulate.
Yes, but Dasho,
but there are people.
Not all surveys are as good as you mentioned.
Yeah. There are people who, in spite of not only telling them, giving them instructions time and again, they have voluminous documents. We have the land transaction guidelines. We have given the survey technical manual. All these things are there for them to follow. In spite of that, they don't bother about it. Some of them go and do what they want. So there are a lot of complaints against these people.
What do you do then, sir?
Well, everything that they do, they cannot get away with it. Because number one, at the end of the day, his reports are checked by the survey engineers. Under each survey engineer, there are 5-6 surveyors. And the survey engineers don't sleep almost the whole night.
Yes.
All the work that is done by the surveyors, maybe 8-9 surveyors that are there with them, he or she has to receive all the survey reports, reconcile them, check with the old records, with the old map, and see what is the deviation limit, whether he's gone totally. The old land record says it may be in one part of the village. He may have gone and surveyed the better land in another part of the village, which the survey engineers will check. So he will not get away with everything. There may be certain things they may be overlooked. Yes, there will be some errors and some omissions and commissions to be there. But such random this thing, if people make out to be, it is not as bad as people make it out to be.
Dasho, are you still dealing with the cases of documents tampering? Is it still happening?
Well, there are a few cases, yes. Document tampering means people sometimes bring say that this is authorized. He or she has been authorized by his uncle or his son to survey his land. Well, later you find out that it is not. He's forged someone's thumb impression and tried to register the land in his own name. Sometimes it is authentic authorization, like we have had a experience in in eastern Bhutan. One of the uncles from Thimphu authorized his nephew, saying that that he was authorized to do an act as far as that land transactions, land survey and everything signed for and on behalf of his uncle. But his nephew, what he did was he went and transferred out of 6 plots, he transferred 2 plots in his own name. So we have people like this. So land is such that, as you mentioned right in the beginning, the land is getting more and more valuable. People don't mind doing something, and they think they might get away with it. And some people may be getting away, but many will not get away. So, but land issues are very, very complicated. It is not as simple as people make it out to be. Because if you come and say that, like we discussed in Zongha, Zalu, your land is missing. Yes, in some cases it is genuine. It may be the fault of people who are transferring the land documents from old documents to new. But many cases, it is not a question of a genuine missed out case. Either it has been acquired by the government, or he or she has sold and thumb has still not been transferred. There are so many cases like this. Because for us, the most difficult part is first to find out whether it's a genuine case or not.
Yes. Dasho, you just mentioned that in most cases people will not get away, but there could be some instances where people could get away.
Yes.
But shouldn't it be the case that nobody should get away with it?
Yeah, as I was saying, like in case the uncle and the nephew case, uncle will not know till he gets his lactam in his hand and finds out that his two plots are missing.
Yes.
And the uncle may not check if uncle is a very meticulous person, he will immediately check on receipt of the thumb. If the uncle is a carefree guy, he will not look at the thumb person, and that is not our problem to look at it. It's between him, nephew, and the uncle.
Yes.
It is not the land commission. He may get away, but that is not for the land commission to review it.
Yes, so Dasho, final question. I was going through your website, and there's an online poll. The question that you posted on your web was, are you happy with the cadastral resurvey? And yes is 36% and no is 64%. So I've been made to understand that many people did not actually appreciate, at least people who sent in their polls did not appreciate the recadastral survey work done by the Land Commission. Why do you think it's so?
See, number one, those people who, anybody who's happy with our judgment, say if there's a dispute case, person who in whose case it was ruled, that person will never say anything good or bad. He will not even come to the media. He will not even come to the polling. But the person who lost, or who it was ruled against him, he will not realize his mistake. And these are the people who will come. And now we know one of the reasons why people are not happy with the national. They want so-called Z plot, which you must have heard many a times. Z plot is something, it was a genuine government land. Now, everybody expects this to be given to them. But we cannot give it to them because in many cases, since this was government land, has already been given under Kidu to landless people. So now if you give it to those in Dzongkhaks where the Z plot is still not being utilized and it is still there and not allotted to anyone else, they feel that it can be given to them. But if you give it to them, what about in the districts where the Z plot has been allotted to someone else? People think on individual basis for his, and these are the people who will come and vote. But at large, when you look at the land, at the national issue, there are so many nitty-gritties.
So this online poll is not so authentic, is what you feel? Yes, Dasho, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you finding time to talk to us. There are lots of questions that we want to raise again, but unfortunately we ran short of time. We would definitely like to seek your appointment for some other time later. Thank you so much for your time and cooperation as always. Thank you, sir. With this, we come to the end of Dawai Kudroen. Thank you so much for watching. Until next Wednesday, where we bring in another edition of Dawai Kudroen, it's time to say good night and Tashidale. Thank you.